Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Chris Winter, and in this video, I'm going to compare two very popular entry-level DSLRs from Canon. Firstly, the Canon T6i or T6s, and also the brand new Canon T6. And guys, if you didn't know already, I'm actually giving away either a Canon 80D or a Sony a6300 to a subscriber, so hit that subscribe button to enter. And guys, also definitely make sure to check out my brand new list, the top 5 best beginner DSLRs. Now, both of these cameras make it, but they don't come in at number 1. So I'll put a link in the description box below if you want to check it out, and you can take a look. But anyway, let's compare these two entry-level DSLRs. So to start off this comparison, let's first take a look at the build quality and features of both of these cameras. Now, both of these cameras are actually pretty small in comparison to larger sized DSLRs like the Canon 80D or 7D Mark II. And for a lot of people, that's going to be a good thing. If you're going to be traveling or walking around a lot, both of these cameras are actually going to be pretty good, especially if you pair them up with a lightweight lens like the Canon 18-55 or the nifty 50. Both cameras have a similar button layout and mode dials, but the T6i does give you a few more options like ISO and display buttons on top. Now, one thing to notice is that if you get the more expensive T6s, you'll also get a top LCD screen, which can be great if you want to check out your settings on the fly. On the side of the camera here, we've got the T6i's SD card slot, but on the T6, it's kind of in a weird spot. It's located in the battery department. I prefer having it on the side, but the choice is up to you. And guys, I was thinking about doing a low light video test between these two cameras, so if you'd like to see that, let me know by leaving a thumbs up on this video. So let's take a look at the screens on the back of these cameras. So from afar, you can't really notice a big difference between the two, and they both have similar resolution. But the great thing about the T6i and the T6s is that you can actually take the screen around and swivel it up and down. This is called an articulating screen. It's actually really useful if you need to get up high or down low to compose your shot. It's also great if you want to take photos or film yourself like I'm doing right now. Both screens are bright and they also work well outdoors, but I really do like the articulating screen on the Canon T6i. And guys, let me know in the comments below which one you would choose if you could have either the T6i or the T6, and I'll take a look at your comments. Now, something that I didn't mention before was that the T6i has another trick up its sleeve, and that's a touch screen on the back. At first, it might sound a little bit gimmicky having a touch screen, but after you use it, you realize just how useful it is. It makes going through your menus a real breeze, and it's incredibly quick. On the T6, you need to press this D-pad on the right to move through your menu items, which actually isn't that bad, but it's a little bit slower. But the best thing about the touchscreen on the T6 is that you can actually use it to focus. All you need to do is tap on the screen on what you want to be in focus, and it smoothly goes into focus. This works on both stills and video mode, and it's awesome. So it's definitely a really good feature, and it's something I'd like to see on the next version of the Canon T6. Speaking about the menus, both of the menus on these cameras are very similar. They're both really easy to use and have enough settings to change, so you can really customize your camera. If you've ever used a Canon camera, both of these will be very familiar to you. And guys, if you want to see some sample images that I've taken with the Canon T6 and the T6i, I'll put a link in the description box below and you can check them out later. But anyway, let's get on with this review. So another really cool feature that both of these cameras have is Wi-Fi and NFC. This allows you to control your camera using the Canon Camera Connect app on your phone, and also allows you to transfer photos to your phone. This is great if you want to quickly be able to upload your photos to Facebook, Instagram, or Flickr. Oddly enough, I actually found that the Canon T6 was a little bit easier to set up and use. I think that Canon have done a little bit of work on the software in the last year since this camera came out. So let's talk about the burst modes of these two cameras. The T6 can shoot at a max of 3 shots per second, which isn't particularly quick, but should be fine for most situations, whereas the T6i can shoot at 5 frames per second. For most photography, 3 shots per second is going to be totally fine, but if you don't know that you're going to be shooting sports or wildlife, or anything really fast moving, the T6i is the way to go. And speaking about fast moving subjects, the autofocus in stills on both of these cameras is surprisingly good. For sub $800 cameras, they both performed well, although they did struggle a little bit in low light. The T6i's STM lens though is a lot quieter than the non-STM lens on the T6. Now I quickly want to talk about the video functions on both of these cameras. Now, if you want to take your videos seriously, you'll want to get the T6i or the T6s. It's got a microphone jack, the articulating touchscreen, and a much better autofocus system. Its hybrid autofocus system is very smooth and nearly as good as the more expensive Canon 70D or 80D. The T6s also has an HDR video mode, which actually works really quite well. Now, both of these cameras can shoot in slow motion at 60 frames per second, but you are limited to 720p mode. So overall, the T6 is going to be okay for day-to-day videos, and if you're just getting into the world of taking videos in your DSLR. But if you want to take it a lot more seriously, I'd go for the Canon T6i or the T6s. In my testing, both of these cameras performed pretty well in battery life, but you'll need spare batteries if you're going to do a long day of shooting. I was surprised to find though that the T6 actually performed slightly better in battery life than my T6i. So that's something to consider, although it really was quite marginal. So the big question is, which one should you buy? Well, if this is your first DSLR or you're just learning, the Canon T6 will be great for you. Now, even though it is only a few $100s between these two cameras, that's a lot of money for some people, so saving that money is definitely a nice thing. Now, you can always put that extra money that you saved into a nice lens like the Canon 50mm STM and get some really nice shots. But if you really want to take your photography serious, and if you're going to do any kind of real video work, the T6i and the T6s will be the one for you. Now, if you want to pick up either of these cameras, I'll put links in the description box below. You can check them out on Amazon. And guys, also definitely make sure to check out my top 5 list of the best value DSLRs. Both of these cameras make the list, but they don't come in at number 1. I'll put a link in the description box as well. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.